So you're thinking about moving to Texas? Well, you just might want to think twice. Every year, thousands of people from around the world relocate to the Lone Star State, especially from California, only for them to move right back. In this video, we're going to discuss the top reasons why people regret moving to the great state of Texas, whether it's the unbearable heat, the traffic, the flat landscape, and yes, the bugs. In this video, we're going to discuss why Texas might not be for you. So if you're on the fence and considering moving to the great state of Texas, this video is for you. If you're new to the channel, my name is Richard Soto, a local real estate broker with VIP Realty right here in the state of Texas. And we do weekly videos discussing what it's like to live, work, and play right here in the Lone Star State, as well as we do video tours of some of the best properties on the market right now. Guys, so you're thinking about moving to Texas, and you heard a lot of good things and a lot of bad. Well, today we're going to focus on the cons and negatives of moving to the great state of Texas, but at the end I'll wrap it up and give you my honest opinion in regards to living in Texas. Let's just get right into it, starting with one of the main reasons people do not enjoy their stay in Texas, as well as one of my biggest dislikes about Texas, and that is going to be the brutal heat. I am a very hot-natured person, and during July and August, the heat becomes unbearable. We're talking 100 degrees, 105. However, with the humidity, it might as well feel like you're in an oven and it's about 120 degrees. I literally perspire. If I take my son to the mall or we're at the grocery store and we have to walk a significant distance of 2 to 3 blocks and we're just walking, I will literally start perspiring as if I just ran a marathon. The heat is no joke, so if you're hot-natured like myself, be prepared to deal with extreme heat. Another negative regarding the brutal summers right here in Texas is going to be your electric bill. Your electric bill is going to skyrocket because you're going to be cranking that AC up day and night. Believe me, during the night hours, it's going to be extremely hot as well. So be prepared to spend additional funds on your AC at home. And never mind if you have a vehicle, you best have an AC or you're just not gonna make it, guys, because the heat is no joke. So that's number one. Now let's move on to number two. And that's that Texas has been recently ranked as the second worst place to raise a family. Now, I'm just delivering the news. That is what this report says. Do I completely agree? Well, you'll have to wait to the end to see how I actually feel about this report. But as they say, numbers don't lie. So let's get into it. A recent study by Consumers Affairs named Texas as the second worst state to raise a family in 2025. Evaluated by research who looked at each state across 5 key categories: affordability, safety, healthcare, education, and quality of life. So according to Consumer Affairs, Texas is not the ideal place to reside in if you have a family. I personally have children, and I'm definitely not going to agree with this particular report. However, once again, I'm the newscaster. I'm just delivering the news, guys. And according to this recent report, Texas is not going to be the place, especially if you have a family. Moving on to number 3, and another recent report, this one by Wallet Hub, stated that Texas is one of the most sinful states in the country. So if you don't want to be around sin, if you're trying to keep your family away from the darkness, okay, according to this report anyway, Texas is not the ideal place to call home because there's a lot of sinning going on right here in the Lone Star State. You would have thought, being in the Bible Belt and having so many churches throughout every city, throughout the state of Texas, pretty much everywhere you can go, you would think there'd be less sin right here in the great state of Texas. But according to Wallet Hub, there's a lot of sinning going on right here in the Lone Star State. To determine where the U.S. needs the most moral growth, Wallet Hub compared the 50 states based on 7 sinful behaviors: anger and hatred, jealousy, excess and vices, greed, lust, vanity, and laziness. Texas ranked 5th overall, but took first place in lust, 6th in jealousy, and 7th in vanity. So we've already covered a couple of reports, guys. Apparently, Texas is not the best place to raise a family. And dang it, if you're trying to stay away from sinning, you don't want to reside in Texas either. And you would assume that is totally the opposite of reality and facts, but that is what these reports say. However, you have a friend in the Lone Star State that's going to keep it real and tell you the absolute truth. Do I agree with that statement? I don't know, okay? I don't know, because there's sin all over the world, but I could see how anger could be an issue, mainly because when I'm on 635, 35, 75, 121, guys, I get pretty dang frustrated with all these people that have relocated to Texas and do not know how to drive. And I'm probably not the only frustrated driver out there. So I could see anger has been maybe on the top of Texas list, maybe during the heat, as most people get frustrated and they're hot-natured, and the sun's rays are making them even more frustrated. But all in all, I'll wait and give you my opinion at the very end. So we got to 3. Let's move on to number 4. And that is going to be the boring landscape. I've already done a video in the past discussing Texas landscape. I upset a lot of people because apparently there's some mountains here in Texas that I've never seen, because I don't drive to that far end of Texas near the Panhandle. I don't even know where they're at. However, in the major cities where the majority of the people reside, whether it's Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, North Texas, the terrain is very flat. It's very boring. As I'm looking out the 12th floor right here at our office tower, all I see is concrete and flat land and highways as far as the eye can see. So if you're from California, for instance, I go to California very frequently, as we have offices in San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco. And I'm not trying to get into politics, number 1, or 2, which state is better. I've actually done a video on that, by the way, if you want to watch it. The reality is, as far as landscape, there is no comparison between those 2 states, okay? You have the ocean, you have the mountains, and depending on what area of the country that you reside in, if you move to Texas and you have beautiful views of mountaintops, of the ocean, guys, you're going to be very disappointed with the landscape in Texas. That's just a reality and something that you might want to consider if you're moving to the state of Texas. Now, let's move on to our next topic, and that is going to be traffic and the urban sprawl. There is so much traffic on a daily basis, and over the last 2 to 3 years, it has been a significant change in traffic. My commute that typically used to take 15 minutes has easily doubled to 30, and regardless of whatever time of day, I used to try to be strategic and leave the office here about 3 o'clock, thinking I would, or hoping that I would avoid traffic, because typically people get off work around 5 or 6. Forget about it, okay? There's going to be traffic at 1 o'clock if I decide to leave the office. Any time of the day, there's going to be traffic. There's going to be a ton of construction as well. Highways are getting built. Highways are being repaved. So regardless of day or night, you're probably going to have to deal with traffic. So make sure you plan accordingly, especially if you have children and you need to drop them off at school. I give myself plenty of leeway because we don't want any more tardies at the school. Not only is traffic going to be an issue, the fact that everything is so spread out is somewhat frustrating. There are other cities across the country where they're very walkable. You really don't need a car per se, or you won't use it as frequently. Anytime that I leave the Soto household, it is pretty much going to be a 30-minute drive in every direction. Whether I'm coming to the office, whether I'm going to pick up my son, which is going to be about a 20-minute drive, back home another 20. When we go to the gym, it's going to be about 20 minutes. When I take him to practice every evening, that's going to be 25 to 30 minutes each way. We are constantly on the road, and convenience is just really not going to happen in the majority of areas throughout the state of Texas. So if you're looking for a walkable community, those are going to be far and few between, and that includes all the major cities throughout the state of Texas. Moving on to number 6. Now, we did discuss the summer heat, but let's go ahead and put this one into a separate category and just call it the weather. We live in Tornado Alley, which leads the United States in tornadoes with about 132 tornadoes per year, which is, guys, that's a lot of freaking tornadoes. And unfortunately, if you are in the way of a tornado, it can cause millions of dollars in damage, never mind the pain and suffering that it could cause individuals in its path. Tornadoes are no joke, and it's not like we only have one or two. According to these stats, we have well over 100 per year, which can be very dangerous and harmful. In addition to that, there's a lot of hail depending on the time of the year. And if you have a nice vehicle and you don't have a garage, it could cause a lot of damage, because some of the hail that we receive here in Texas can be baseball-sized hail, which is massive. And not only is it going to dent up your car, it'll destroy your home, windows, roof, and anything in its path. So tornadoes, hail, big issues right here in Texas. Moving on to number 7, and that is going to be the wildlife. So if you're scared of snakes, like I am the biggest baby. And I'm sorry, I have a younger son. If I saw a rattlesnake crawling around the ground, I might jump on top of him to try to avoid that rattlesnake. I don't like snakes. And depending on where you're at, you might see quite a few of them, and you might hear them rattling around. And if you don't like big bugs, scorpions, giant ants as well, you might want to avoid certain parts of the state, or at the very least, make sure your home is being sprayed to keep all those ants and bugs, mosquitoes out of your home. Believe me, I have a subscription, and the guys come out and make whatever they do, spray, put the little feed on the ground. I don't want to be dealing with mosquitoes, big ants, scorpions, or any critters that reside right here in Texas. Texas has been one of the fastest growing states in the country. Hundreds of thousands of people have moved to the Lone Star State. And here's a fact that most people don't know. While Texas has been growing rapidly, a lot of the people that moved to Texas, quite frankly, moved back. I don't know the exact percentage. I believe I read from a report 25 to 30%, which is a significant amount. And you have to ask yourself, you left, you moved to Texas, and there's obviously a reason that they didn't want to be here. And those topics that we just covered, in my opinion, are the main reasons people don't stay when they do decide to move back to where they came from or to a new location. The question is, should you move to Texas? We covered 2 reports earlier in the video. One stated that Texas is not an ideal place to raise a family. In my opinion, that is absurd, completely wrong. We have offices in different states, and I choose to live in Texas. The number one reason we stay in Texas is because I do have a family. And I want my children in the very best environment with like-minded individuals at school, in sports, in our community. There are so many great people right here in the great state of Texas that have the same moral values that we do and the same beliefs that we do. I love the great state of Texas, and in my opinion, it's the best place to grow a family. The other report said that we were one of the most sinful cities in the country. While I'm not sure the exact stats, believe me, not everybody is holy in the Lone Star State. There's a lot of knuckleheads. There's a lot of silly people here, just like everywhere else. Do I believe there's a lot of great people that have high morals, that work hard, that are great to their family, to their communities? Absolutely. I don't see any other state having any more of what Texas has to offer by any means. Are there other states that I really love going to? Yes, California is one. Okay, I love going to our offices. I love the beach. I absolutely love looking at the stunning mountains. The landscape is amazing. And above all, I love that Southern California weather. It is the best, especially when I'm here in August. I am itching to get to the airport and fly to California because I'm done with the Texas heat. However, overall, Texas is hard to beat, guys. The cost of living is significantly lower than the majority of other states. The economy is booming. We have great schools depending on the area. There's a lot of great public education available. The sports and activities for youth is amazing right here in the Lone Star State. And above all, we have some of the best people and families in the world. They reside right here in the Lone Star State. While Texas is definitely not perfect, and it's definitely not for everyone. If you want a walkable community, if you don't feel like driving 45 minutes each way, if you don't like the heat, Texas is not for you. The good thing is, guys, if you're considering moving to the state of Texas, whether it's Houston, Austin, San Antonio, Midland, Dallas, Fort Worth, my team and I would love to assist you with your next real estate transaction. And we are completely transparent, honest, and direct. If you're choosing an area that might not fit your needs, or maybe Texas as a whole isn't going to fit your needs, we'll give you our complete, honest feedback because Texas isn't for everyone. It is for the chosen few that were called to be in this great state. Guys, I'm only kidding. If you're thinking about moving throughout the state of Texas, my team and I would love to assist you with your next real estate transaction. We look forward to hearing from you soon. We'll see you on the next video.